Oh, this could decide the game.
4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
What a pass to MB! My goodness! Posterizes Baines and the foul!
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss! Struck him out! The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show. As always, I'm your host, Dylan Davis. To the right of me is my co-host, Matt McGinty. Please give him a follow on Twitter at Matt_McGinty. And we're streaming to you guys live through DSM Media on their Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. So if you're new to the channel, please tap in by subscribing to DSM Media on YouTube. Turn on notifications. Please like this video and go follow DSM Media on Twitter at DSM_Media. Gint, I'm not in a great mood today. You want to know why I'm not in a great mood today?
Why is that?
Because something that I went on a 25-minute rant about last night that should have been so, should have just went well last night, and it's because he was well rested in Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola has another underperforming, underwhelming, disappointing, whatever the hell you want to call it, performance last night in the Bronx as the Phillies fall to the Yankees 6-4 and drop game one of a 2-game set up in New York. And yes, the bats weren't good last night. Don't get me wrong. I think the Phillies struck out 13 times. They left 12 guys on base. The 6th or 7th inning, I can't really recall, but they had bases loaded with 1 out. They don't even put a ball in play. They don't score a run. The following inning, 1st and 2nd, 0 outs or 1 out. Don't get anything in that inning either. So the bats didn't really wake up, but you can't really get mad at them. They did provide 4 runs, and they have been producing at a high level over the last month or so. Aaron Nola, who we know he's not an ace anymore. I don't think anyone in the Philadelphia area or nationally tries to say that Aaron Nola is still an ace, because that's not true. Zach Wheeler, if there is an ace on this team, it's Zach Wheeler now, and I think that kind of came by surprise. But Aaron Nola, at the very least, just had about 2 weeks off. 2 weeks, he's well rested. He didn't have COVID, so he wasn't sick. He was just in close contact to Alec Boehm. So he's well rested, coming back, all-star break, everything. All I wanted to see last night out of Aaron Nola was not an ace start, but a top guy start, right, against the Yankees. And what I said to George on yesterday's show was Aaron Nola had to do, it was an eye test type of game mixed with numbers. So it couldn't be, okay, he had a great start. He gave up no runs or 1 run, but he was pulled in the 4th or the 5th because he threw 98 pitches early and got worked. And it also couldn't be, well, he went 7 2/3, but he gave up 5 runs. No, this had to be a dominant start from Aaron Nola because the Phillies have a bullpen game today. Spencer Howard, oh my, that's going to be fun 2 2/3 innings out of Spencer Howard today, right? So what does Aaron Nola do, Gint? He gets plucked with 1 out in the 5th, leaving a runner on second base for the bullpen, for Jose Alvarado to come in the game in the 5th inning. So with a bullpen game following the next night, your top guy, a guy who people try to tell me is untradeable in this city, goes 5 1/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, and leaves the bullpen exposed for the rest of that game. And we all know how that went. Brant, I don't think anyone was surprised Kinsler gave up a home run. So the bullpen actually held their own, only giving up 2 more runs throughout the rest of the game. But Aaron Nola continues to be freaking disappointing this year. Again, I think he's gone through 6 innings. 10 of his 19 starts. Hold on, let me make sure I'm correct here. He's pitched fewer than 6 innings in 10 of his 19 starts. He has a 5.86 ERA over his last 12 starts. He has the same ERA on the year that this Phillies horrific bullpen has. Not terrific, horrific. And I can't. He's becoming hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked yesterday, or Monday. I wasn't here yesterday, and we were saying how we had 2 front end starters that were high end, and we just had to add a couple, 1 or 2 more starters in the rotation to be a complete team to maybe make a postseason run. But he's looked very underwhelming. His ERA since June's is above a 6. He's 6-6 on the year. He's been just not what you thought he'd be this season. So he needs to perform better, or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. We're talking about making this postseason run, and without him, it doesn't look very good.
And that's part of the disappointment that I have today. And I'm not trying to get too high. You know, when we joke around and say the Phillies are buyers, they are, but it's not a joke. They are buyers now. They're in a position to compete to win the division. But, you know, we're not sitting here saying that we truly believe they can win a championship as is right now, but they can make some moves to, you know, propel themselves to the top of the NL East, right? So I don't want to get too high there, and I don't want to get too low after 1 loss in a 2-run game to the New York Yankees. You know, they could win today, split there, come back home where they're a much better team. So I'm not trying to get too low. It's in the fashion that they lose. Like, how can I as a fan have trust and hope and faith in this team when it's number 2 starter at the moment, you know, doesn't even have the numbers of a 4th starter? Gint, you just say he's 6-6 with almost a 5 ERA on the season. That's not it's not a number 1. It's not a number 2. It's probably not even a number 3 in the MLB. His numbers are floating around that a 4th starter quality, you know, numbers right there.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty depressing to say the least.
It's shocking. Like, I listen, I think we figured out probably 2 years ago, a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, Aaron Nola isn't an ace, but he's a damn good starting pitcher in the MLB, and you pair him at the top of your rotation, you have something there. Now I'm not so sure, so that's why I'm in a bad mood today, because it is only 1 loss. They just won 4 series. They could turn around and win tonight, which they'll probably do because that's the Phillies way. Lose the Aaron Nola start, win the Spencer Howard and bullpen game. It's what they'll do. But like, it has my mind just going 100 miles an hour, because I'm just thinking big picture, and it's like, okay, well, they're supposed to add to the Nola and Wheeler mix and this lineup mix to propel them to a playoff run. But if the people in the mix, such as Aaron Nola, aren't performing, then what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, like I just said, we need him. It's not there's not going to be enough added on to replace him at this point. So he needs to perform. He needs to perform quickly, because we have 2 big series coming up after this little 2-game stint with the Yankees, and he'll probably pitch what? He'll pitch twice in those series. So he needs to perform.
They come home to the Braves and the Nationals, right? 4 each.
Yeah.
So yeah, he should. I'm pretty sure he should pitch in both of those series. And again, he's a different pitcher. All the pitchers in this rotation are different pitchers. This is a different team at Citizens Bank Park this year. Fair or foul, that's how it is. And if they're going to want to be successful to make a postseason run, they're going to have to get better on the road. So we'll see how they flip the page tonight. But I'm pissed off. I can't. He's hard to watch.
Yeah, but also, and you kind of touched on in the beginning, it's inexcusable to have the base loaded with 1 out with Rhys Hoskins and Didi Gregorius coming to the plate, and you don't even put a ball in play. I was sitting watching. I was like, "It's going to be." Even if I thought Rhys was going to ground into a double play, but I mean, neither of them even put the bat on the ball. Rhys got rung up on a bad call, but Gregorius whiffed.
I knew
he started.
I knew Didi was getting put down. Didi was either in that plate appearance, 2 outs, bases loaded in Yankee Stadium. Didi was either hitting a grand slam over the right field wall, because he's not hitting the ball the opposite way. So it's either a grand slam over the right field wall, Phillies take the lead, or Didi's whiffing here, and he sure as hell whiffed. You're right, and it also Didi's mishap at shortstop when he caught the line drive and tried to throw to Therese at third and threw an awful throw back to third base, and they scored a run there. That's not Nola's fault. I understand that. But then Nola turned right around. Didn't he? I'm pretty sure he gave up a home run to the very next batter. So like, yeah, I understand things could have gone a different way. Other facets of the game, the bats could have helped out Aaron Nola yesterday, but the bats have helped out Aaron Nola more than enough this season. But anyway, you're right. Maybe they do flip the script tonight. I'm sure they will. But after watching a guy throw 5 1/3 innings tonight, I can't wait to see how demoralizing it is to watch Spencer Howard not even get through the 3rd inning tonight. Because I guarantee, listen, I would love to know like what the market is like betting wise for Spencer Howard over under innings.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
it has to be 3.5.
What time's first pitch?
7:05.
Spencer Howard's night will be over by like 7:37.
And McCarthy even mentioned it a couple times on the broadcast last night. The Yankees had like a makeshift lineup. Like DJ LeMahieu was a late scratch. He might not play tonight either, but they weren't full go last night. And you dropped the Nola game, and that's kind of that's why I'm disappointed. Anyway, moving on, another game that was on last night. Again, let's talk some NBA Finals because the NBA season is now over and the offseason may begin. And the offseason begins. The draft's in 8 days. You are muted, but thank you. I could read your lips. Thanks.
You are correct. 8 days.
But I do want to get your thoughts on this NBA Finals because, listen, it was kind of heartbreaking to watch the team come out of the East, win the championship. And, we had the stories all year long of Giannis sitting at half court at the Wells Fargo Center after stomping us out in overtime. But what were your thoughts on this series? Because I thought it was really good basketball. But here's my better question. Were you able to enjoy it? As a Sixers fan, disappointing end to the year, were you able to enjoy it? Because I wasn't. I watched it, but I couldn't enjoy it.
I loved it. I really, to be honest with you. I'm huge on debunking bad stigmas in the NBA and the whole Giannis can't win thing. I was really happy to see. And because he lost, if you look back at his track record, besides the bubble, obviously he lost in the bubble to Miami. It was a bad loss. But before that, he'd only lost like two playoff series as a favorite. So it was cool to kind of see that kind of debunk. I'm a big Drew Holiday guy. I was a fan. And my biggest thing was the Sixers should have their notepads out at this point. You look at Toronto's championship. They traded for a rental piece that never came back. They won a title. Lakers make a move for Anthony Davis. Oh, they gave up so much. Is that going to be enough for Anthony Davis? They win a title. Milwaukee trades for Drew Holiday. Oh, they gave up 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday. Is it going to be enough? Win a title. There's no is there enough for certain guys. You just make the move. Matisse Thybulle's movable. Tyrese Maxey's movable. So, again, they should be sitting there with a pen and paper writing these things down.
I wasn't going to take it as Sixers direction.
I had to.
You sure as hell did, and I loved it because I completely agree with you. There's no Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle. There's no, you can't give up both of them. See if they take Shake. No, they don't want Shake. Okay, whatever happens is they're going to take both of those. If you got to throw in 3 first-round draft picks plus the pick swaps, whatever it is, you do that to get Damian Lillard. But going back to the Suns Bucks finals, what I wanted to ask you is what was the difference in this Bucks? Because you brought up Drew Holiday already, and I think that's option A of the differences because he was the newly acquired piece. Outside of that, they're a very similar team as to what they were in years past. Chris Middleton obviously took a huge leap in this year's postseason. If my memory serves me correct, he had a rough first round, correct? Yeah, correct. You're muted again, bro.
On the road, he wasn't playing very well much in these playoffs, besides in the finals. But dude, the biggest difference for me was Budenholzer was really good.
Or was it Giannis taking that next step?
I think they both took a huge step, but it still wouldn't have been enough. I think the head coach, Mike Budenholzer, took a huge step. The first 2 games, Phoenix kind of had a lot of like ease with Brook Lopez playing the 5, and when they had Dario and he went down, Mike Budenholzer kind of went to this Bobby Portis 4-5 lineup with Giannis, and it gave Phoenix a ton of trouble. They were able to switch a lot more. They were able to switch on the pick and rolls. When Brook Lopez was playing the pick and roll, he was getting picked apart. So I think that was probably the biggest difference because obviously they didn't lose a game after that. Because I'm pretty sure Bobby Portis didn't play in the first game of the finals. I think he barely played in the second game. So
I think you're right.
I think that was not that Bobby Portis was the biggest change. Obviously, Giannis
He had
50.
17 last night?
Yeah, he played really well last night. But Giannis had 55 block shots. He's guarding Chris Paul in the pick and roll, guarding DeAndre Ayton in the post. He was just a different breed of human being.
So that was my next question for you. Was that, you just mentioned the numbers, 50, 5 blocks, I forget how many boards, 12 to 14
13.
boards, 13.
Yeah.
There we go. 12 to 14. There we go. 13 boards for Giannis, 17 of 19 from the free throw line. Was that in just that you've watched, right? In our lifetime, was that the best or like most impressive or dominant performance in a closeout game you've seen?
Probably. I'd have to like really deep dive into it and look, but that's the first one that comes to my head. I mean, LeBron Game 7 against Golden State's probably up there. LeBron didn't close out in the one game in Game 6 against Boston, so that wasn't.
No, and that was
it's-
also Eastern Conference.
Oh, in the finals, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's probably number one. Yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. That would be.
I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I didn't think he had that in him. I didn't think he had a 50 piece in him, and it's something, you know. It wasn't just that, dude. He did everything else. 5 block shots. We've seen him block a crazy amount of shots already this series in timely moments, and then he does it again in Game 6 to close them out. And then, but it's not there. He's not just block shots. They're huge. They're momentum shifting block shots. They lead to transition buckets, his block shots. And then he, who's, you know, protecting the rim and blocking those shots, is getting out the other way, leading a fast break or finishing at the other end. He was freaking awesome to watch last night. I know as Sixers fans, it's like, you know, hopefully we had that little rivalry going forward because we have Embiid, they have Giannis and all that back and forth, but it was really impressive to watch. And, you know, the question I threw at you, to me, in the finals, yeah, I think it's the most impressive or dominant performance I've seen in a closeout game.
Yeah, and there's not really much you can say about it, but the way he's able to he hit timely shots. That was the biggest thing. Phoenix took a lead in the third quarter. They're up like 4.
Just when he hit the 3? Yeah.
Yeah, he hit a 3, and I was like, that's a dagger in the back of Phoenix start right there. I was like that's some stuff that would happen to the Sixers. The Sixers would go on a run, and Giannis would drill a 3, and they'd be back in the game. But he was, like you said, unbelievable. Everything he did was unbelievable.
And the free throws, dude. Help me understand it. Help me. You're the coach. You're the coach on this show. Help me understand we here in Philadelphia know all about, the mental lapses at the free throw line with Ben Simmons. You were seeing it with Giannis all year and in this postseason with the 10-second rule and how many times it came up and him just getting in his own head, taking too long, airballing free throws. And then in Game 6 to close out the NBA Finals, he goes 17 of 19.
He went 13 of 17 Game 3, 4 of 8 Game 4, and then 17 of 19 last night. It was just that was his home games, obviously, in the series. So I think that definitely plays a huge part in it because he didn't shoot that well, Phoenix, especially with the whole counting. And it's pretty. I'd probably go 1 for 42, but it's just preparation. I mean, I don't know how many he shot in practice, but maybe maybe he just found it because it doesn't make sense because I don't know off the top of my head his lifetime percentages, but it's definitely not even in the same realm of what he shot in his home games in the finals.
Yeah, hold on, I gotta pull this up. Scotty said
I picked a Bucks sweep.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I picked the Suns.
I wholeheartedly thought the Suns in 6 with a healthy Giannis. I thought with an unhealthy Giannis, it was Suns in 5. And that was another thing, dude. Listen, I don't know the how major his injury actually was, but we know what it looked like. And then he comes out and does that.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he wasn't going to play. What series was that? I don't know what series.
Say another thing.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling like takey today. Devin Booker's a baller, bro. I love watching Devin Booker. Devin Booker just made his first NBA Finals appearance. Devin Booker looked like a scared turkey. And
that's a tough claim to make.
But here's what bothered me. The whole Kobe comparison from the national media in the playoffs.
That's the biggest thing. And I mean, that's not his fault, though.
No. It has nothing to do with him. But don't you dare make it in a couple of years if he's proven something, if he's Mamba-like, sure. Are you kidding me, dude? Like, because the Suns were cruising in the middle of the NBA postseason, they called him he's the next Kobe Bryant. He's the closest thing to Kobe Bryant. How dare you? And listen, probably poor choice of words. I didn't mean scared. I just meant watching him late game. How many and Chris Paul was, a victim of it too. And it's credit to the Bucks defense, but how many late game turnovers there were towards the end of the series when the Bucks kind of took a handle on it and it was close games at the end. Devin Booker had way too much dribbling, too much trying to penetrate the zone, and then balls going that way. We saw it with the Drew Holiday play. It happened a couple times last. PJ Tucker got a little bit of hand on that play at half court, but it's whatever. It went the other way. Like, he just, I don't know. The moment looked a little too big for him, in my opinion, from my eyes.
No, I think you're right in a sense. It definitely was game 3 that really kind of struck that comparison to the grave because he came out and had 10 points. Like, they're up 2-0. You have a chance to literally put Milwaukee in the dirt, and he came out with 10 points.
Well, dude, he had 19 in 46 minutes last night.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's also getting Drew Holiday, which is a tough assignment, but if you're quote unquote, and again, this isn't his fault, Kobe Bryant.
No. It's not on Devin Booker at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, we talk like these people are these great basketball-minded people and all the respect they have, and I'm just like, it really bothered me that they came out and said that already, and then these are the numbers, because what I was like digging for in the box score was the fact that Giannis did drop 50, and it was a close game for the most part. It never got out of late in the game. It never got past 8, I don't think, and then the Suns would cut it to 4.
The biggest lead was 13 in the first quarter.
Yeah. But I was looking here, and I just think the biggest thing, like, Chris Middleton had 17 points, 6 of 13 shooting, 1 of 4 from deep. She wasn't spectacular. But at the end of the game, when that game was close, Chris Paul and Devin Booker missed shots. Chris Middleton did not. And that was the biggest difference. Outside of the Greek Freak doing what he did last night, that was the biggest difference to me, was timely shooting out of everything.
You know what I saw? I saw a stat today, and it was comparing Jimmy Butler's 2020 run to Chris Middleton's 2021 run, and Chris Middleton's numbers put him in the dirt.
Yeah.
And it was like, y'all aren't ready to talk about this.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
I saw that. But just wrapping up on the finals and getting, before we get into our next segment here again, just what does it say? So the series is over. We know the Bucks are the NBA champions. Like you said, they had to sell a lot to bring in Drew Holiday, but their overall, I'd have to go down the roster. The Bucks are still a young team. The Suns the Suns are in a sticky situation here, because while the Suns are, extremely young in areas with Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, I don't know if Crowder's going to be there, whatever their deal is outside of those three. But CP3 is a free agent, is he not? Right. And CP3 was really the person on that squad that catapulted them. Don't get me wrong, Devin Booker, I know I just ragged on him a little bit. Devin Booker was spectacular all year, and for 95% of the postseason, he was spectacular. Okay? But CP3 was the leader of that team. CP3 commanded the offense. If CP3 walks, my point here is the Bucks are going to be back in title contention. The Suns, while they're still young and they're viewed as the younger squad, the more immature squad, they lose Chris Paul in that deep West. I think the Suns drop off big time next year.
So not only they lose, that's where he goes. There's reports for the Lakers for him, yada, yada. They lose Chris Paul, Cameron Payne's a free agent, Torrey Craig's a free agent, Etuan Moore's a free agent, and Frank Kaminsky's a free agent. That's 5 guys that all played in the regular season. They were in the regular season rotation, so you're talking about a big roster overhaul. But I think Chris Paul will be back.
You do?
I want to say I assume. Unless somehow the Lakers can propose an offer that can get him there. But
I don't think he's back, bro.
Really?
I don't. I think. Listen, I know he loved those young guys. I know the whole thing, the whole dynamic with him and DeAndre Ayton. He kind of, brought, accelerated DeAndre Ayton's career and brought him back a little bit. Chris Paul's in how old is he? 36?
He's in year 15.
16, isn't it? Whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be.
He's 36.
He's 36 years old. That was obviously, everyone knows this, just made his first NBA Finals appearance. They took a 2-0 lead and then lost the next 4. With that young squad that you saw kind of lose trust in each other, and, offensively, things kind of broke down. A lot of late games turnovers from Chris Paul's hands as well. I don't think if he truly wants a championship, I don't think he's sitting here thinking, I can run it back with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and these young dudes, and we can, dude, next year, Bron, AD, we're just going to assume they're healthy. Clay's back. Jamal Murray comes back. The West is just stacked, and guys are going to move, and the teams are going to get better. I don't see any way, shape, or form at this point of his career, if he's truly ring chasing, that he sticks around in Phoenix.
I just don't know who can really give him much of an offer besides, like I said, the Lakers. If the Lakers or somehow, I don't know, like the Clippers can somehow have a cap situation where it works, but who besides them is in a perennial like win type of mode that can give him an offer? And dude, imagine if he goes to another team, that would be his 6th team. He's racking up the numbers, man.
Yeah, but if just from that, I don't see him coming back. But it'll definitely be interesting to keep an eye on. Again, is there anything else finals wise you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, the craziest thing. The Nets took that team to 7 games and didn't have anyone healthy, essentially. Which is like just a really crazy talking point to think about because
you're already getting scared.
I'm not getting scared, but that's one of the biggest what ifs ever, right?
Sorry, I got a little housekeeping to do back here.
Yeah, get that guy.
I agree with you.
Bottom right corner.
Not on board yet?
We'll be on board after week 1.
Yeah, I feel you. But switching gears here, Gint, let's get into some Eagles talk as training camp is 6 days away now, 5 days away now. And yesterday, me and George here on the Phaithful Fanatics did a segment on which new faces we were most excited to see wear midnight green this year, whether it was through the draft or free agent signings, etc. Now today with you, I want to discuss the biggest question marks heading into Eagles training camp. And then as days go on tomorrow, next week, we can kind of break down position by position what battles we'll be looking for. I'll be doing the same thing tonight on trending for fourth quarters with Phil Phaithful right here on DSM Media. We're going to be breaking down Eagles training camp battles by position. But just today, what are the biggest question marks heading into camp? Because while I'm excited, a lot of holes left, dude. A lot of holes, a lot of question marks to figure out on this Eagles roster. And let's start it down. I have a list of 4 here. And guys, if you're watching, please feel free to comment along any question marks you have, any concerns you have heading into camp. But we'll start it right with tight end number 1. Again, if that sounds good to you. And what I mean by this is Zach Ertz is still somehow, some way a Philadelphia Eagle. I don't know how. I don't know how he has not been traded. I don't know how he has not been cut. I don't know what the deal is. I thought the relationship was fractured. I thought he was he's done being an Eagle. It still could be the case. However, training camp's quickly approaching. He's still on the roster, and a report comes out that he is expected to be on time at training camp. Reversely, you have the younger tight end here in Dallas Goedert, who's on a contract here, who there have been rumors of the Eagles and him working on a major extension that would pay him big money as tight end number 1. There are, fantasy leagues out there, rankings. There are people out there that think Dallas Goedert is going to be a top 5 to 6 tight end this season. Listen, that's a huge question mark to me. What do you do here, right? Like, was Zach Ertz in 2020 just an anomaly? Like Carson Wentz, the offensive line, the offense as a whole, this team as a whole, was he just had a down year? I know the whole he quit on the field type of thing, and people were really pissed off at him. But was that an anomaly, or is Zach Ertz declining and going in a declining trend at this stage in his career? So what do you do here with this tight end thing, Gint?
Zach Ertz's days are over as a Philadelphia Eagle. I don't think he'll play a game this year for him, truthfully. So obviously you're going to roll with Dallas Goedert as tight end number one, and boy, you better be right. Is all I have to say, because he's shown flashes of being a really good tight end in the NFL. But we had guys that we talked to before week one last year. Trade him. No, he doesn't block. No yak Zach, whatever. I mean, Zach Ertz is, and this was last year when he was projected to be a top 3 tight end in the NFL, top 4, whatever. So you're going to roll with Goddard, and like I said, you better be right, because Zach Ertz is a pass catcher at the end of the day. I don't think last year was Zach Ertz. I think he's going to go somewhere and be really good. I don't know where it's going to be, considering it hasn't happened yet. A couple weeks ago, it was, he's about to go to the Bills. And if he goes to a type of offense like that, I can see him being very, very good again.
Dude, first of all, I'm pretty sure he's like 30 years old, if that. Like, Zach Ertz is still a young tight end in this league. So the comments about last year, it's such a weird thing with this situation, because they were wrong. They still are wrong. Like, you're right. Dallas Goedert, the idea of Dallas Goedert is perfect. He's huge. He blocks. He can pass catch. He can get down the field, everything. He's shown great flashes of what he can be, and I hope everyone's right. But there's been no proof in the pudding that he is for certain a tight end number one in this league. He hasn't shown quite enough of that in my eyes. The Zach Ertz thing last year, the whole no yak Zach thing bothered me too. The whole block. He was just, at that time, Zach Ertz was probably a top 3 to 5 tight end in the league. No, he should not have gotten, and he still hasn't gotten, George Kittle or Travis Kelce-esque money, which he was asking for. That was wrong. He wasn't getting that money, and I ripped him apart last year. It's just funny to think about those conversations now, because right now, again, you almost wish they did that, because you would have gotten much greater value for Zach Ertz at the time. You would have accelerated this process. Dallas Goedert probably does fit the bill right now as the Eagles tight end number one, with this whole, youth movement that's going on the offensive side of the ball. So it'll be really interesting. It's just, I don't know the answer. I truthfully don't. I agree with you, because I don't see any way, shape, or form he plays as an Eagle this year. But at the same time, if it hasn't happened already, when's it going to happen? And if Zach Ertz is on the roster and he's active, he's still good enough to to be a tight end one, in my opinion.
And that's the biggest thing is Zach Ertz. So we're saying he's going to be on the roster, and you haven't moved yet, so he still is on the roster. But is Zach Ertz going to be a tight end too? I don't see it happening. You know what I mean? So, and to your point where you said you don't know, nobody knows, and no one can claim they know. And that's the biggest thing with the Jalen Hurts thing is you don't know. And I know we'll get into him obviously, but everyone that's so certain about
You're
all these
talking
things,
about Dallas Goedert being tight end.
they haven't seen it in action.
Right.
Like, you look by his game by game breakdown last year, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't very good. He had a couple games. He honestly had his best week, I think, was week 1. But and the quarterback isn't on the team anymore from week 1.
The first half of week 1 was an exciting time. We thought we were Super Bowl bound in our group chat.
We looked like it, man.
The MVP was back, bro.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was like the most disastrous collapse I've ever seen in my entire lifetime, and it never turned back around. So
it looked like a preseason game when you threw in the second team in the second half. It was brutal. Yeah. But we're moving on. New quarterback.
So I agree with you. Like, anyone that tries to tell you or tell me that they know Dallas Goedert, no, you don't. You're just a fanboy. You're not wrong. Like, I'm not saying Dallas Goedert isn't or can't or won't be tight end number 1 and be a top 4 to 5 tight end in this league. He has the tools to be, is the size, the athleticism, the hands, everything to be tight end number 1 for the Eagles. But to say because he hasn't shown enough. He truly hasn't. So to just say is a lie, in my opinion. But I'm hopeful that your hunch, that's what it is, it's a hunch, is correct. But moving on, I don't have, as far as that, I was looking for answers from these question marks, Gint, and I don't have one for that one before we move on. I don't have what in my mind. I had no idea what the answer is.
There it can be because Zach Ertz is still on the roster. You don't know what he's going to do, and you don't know if Dallas Goedert's prepared to be a tight end one yet.
Agreed. Let's move on to my second biggest issue, or third biggest issue. That is the offensive line, and in particular, the left tackle starting position. Gint, listen, you got to remember, it's a new regime, it's new coaching staff all across the board. These aren't their guys. Andre Dillard, that the Philadelphia Eagles spent that high draft pick on, that first round draft pick, it's not their guy, so they don't owe him. Management, might try to force that on them because they did spend that draft pick on him. But see, the offensive line coach, Sirianni, everybody, Dillard's not their hand-selected guy. Jordan Mailata has shown flashes. The dude is, what the hell is he? 6'8", 6'9". He's a freaking monster. Okay, so the left tackle battle is going to be an interesting one. Andre Dillard versus Jordan Mailata. And then just what I mean by the offensive line as a whole is the offensive line was such a major problem last year. And I know there's people out there that will try to throw numbers at you and try to tell you, they had this time and they bullshit. The offensive line was quite clearly, if you watched the game with your own two eyes, was a major, major issue last year because of health. Because Brandon Brooks missed the entire season. Because Lane Johnson battled multiple injuries and missed games all over the place. Because Jason Kelce went down. Everybody was hurt. They had, 10 different offensive line pairings in 11 weeks through the first 11 weeks of the season. It was a complete and utter disaster. So what I mean by the offensive line being a question mark is, who's starting at left tackle? Who's winning that battle? And then are these aging veterans on the right side of the line, and Brandon Brooks and Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson, can they get back to them former selves or even close to their former selves, Gint?
So let's start with the left tackle things. That's what you brought up first. I think they will roll with Dillard to start. Like you said, they spent a first-round draft pick on him. I think management will probably have a little bit to do with that. But Mailata was good last year. So I think it's like a short leash thing. Like, you see him struggle, it's a quick, all right, we'll plug this guy in. But then you kind of get into shuffling. I know they don't want to shuffle a lot of people around after last year. So that's another tough situation we're talking about. But I do think Dillard will get the first crack at it. And then when you talk about the right side, like Brandon Brooks coming off 2 injuries in a row, correct?
Yeah.
But when he played, Brandon Brooks was a top, 5 guard in the NFL?
Top 5 total guard, and he's probably a top 1 or 2 right guard.
Yeah,
he's one of the best right guards in all of the national football.
When he's played, he's been really good. So you have to hope he can return to some type of that form. Now, do I think he's going to be the best right guard in the NFL coming off it was an Achilles the second time?
Yeah, dude. I think it was an ACL, then an Achilles, or vice versa.
And those injuries obviously are no joke, clearly.
Right. When you're that big and you rely so much on your bottom half and your legs going backwards, fighting off 290-pound defensive, 300-pound off defensive linemen, it is scary. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but I think the best thing about it is those 3 have played together. They're comfortable together, which is a huge thing, especially after last year when you didn't know who was going to be on your right or left each week. So the right side, I don't want to say I'm comfortable because of the injuries.
It's just a health standpoint.
Exactly. And then the left side is just a question mark at left tackle. Seumalo is still the left guard, so he's. But and then you have this Landon Dickerson kid who he could be.
First of all, talk about a question mark. He's still not signed.
Really?
He's the last remaining Eagles drafted player not to be signed. Swear to God.
Why has there been any
I have
reason?
No idea. Second round draft pick, still not signed.
Well, he can be plugged in at left guard. I'm pretty sure he's listed as second on the depth chart at left guard. So, it'll be interesting to see if he gets any time this year. So, the offensive line is definitely a question mark from a health standpoint on the right side and who's going to play left tackle.
All right. I agree with you. The right side. The right side as a whole is just if healthy. The one thing do you remember the Jason Martinez conversation we had about defensive pairings on Monday when talking about the Ryan Ellis trade and Provorov and why he had a down year. It was, when you're coming behind, he just made the whole thing. When you have continuity with someone, when you play with someone over and over again, you just know where they are. You don't have to look. You just feel where they are. Same thing here. And Jalen Hurts will have the same relationships with them. I love that Brandon Brooks and Lane Johnson are boys. They're boys. Like, they hang out. A friend of mine posted him taking shots with Lane and Brandon Brooks like a week ago down at a bar. Like, they're out together. They work out together all the time. They are boys. Jason Kelce, as long as he's healthy, I know he's getting older, a little bit slower. His body's beat up. He doesn't have a question mark from me yet. Isaac Seumalo, not the biggest fan of him. He can hold his own at left guard. The biggest question mark to me besides health on the right side is that left tackle position. I see where you're coming from. I even phrased it to you that management may stick their nose in this. We know that management sticks their nose in things and the day-to-day operations and who plays in the Eagles building. So you could 100% be correct. I just think if Jordan Mailata, because like you said, he was pretty good last year. He showed flashes, his body size, everything, his athleticism. There are people out there. Brian Baldinger is huge on Jordan Mailata. If he had a good offseason and he has a really good to great camp, there is no way in hell Jordan Mailata is not the starting left tackle week 1 for the Philadelphia Eagles. I agree with you. Could 100%. And it'll also, I think, be a little telling as to what this coaching regime is. Are they here to stay? It's their team, blah, blah, blah. Or, how the question marks with Sirianni and this coaching staff is they were hand-selected because Howie and Jeffrey like to stick their nose in people's businesses. I think it's going to be very telling. And I'm not saying that because I can't see all the practices, the training camp, so I can only go off of what people are saying. But if Jordan Mailata is outplaying Andre Dillard in training camp and Andre Dillard gets to start week 1, you know why.
That's what I was going to say. If you do see Mailata start week 1, it has to be because he totally outplays Dillard in training camp, because at that point, you're not giving Dillard a shot because he didn't play last year, essentially. So I think you I think you will see Dillard week 1. I really do.
All right. Moving on from there. Listen, this one is more of a hole than our number 1, but our number 1 is much more important and a fun topic to talk about. So why would Lurie and Howie prefer one to the other? Because Andre Dillard was a first-round draft pick and Jordan Mailata was wherever he came from, playing rugby, and a late-round draft pick. Yeah, but the draft capital that he spent on Andre Dillard, when people didn't even love the Dillard pick to begin with, if Andre Dillard's healthy, my point is he's going to try to force that down your throat because he selected him with such a high draft pick. I get what you're saying, George. Mailata would be a huge success story for Howie would be, look at me, I'm boy genius. I found this athletic freak on the left side that I can plug in and replace Jason Peters with. But Andre Dillard, that draft capital means something, and he's going to try to show you why he selected Andre Dillard with that first round draft pick. That's my point there. My next issue is probably it's a bigger hole. Okay. Yeah, we'll agree to disagree because what trade stock does Andre Dillard have? He has no trade value right now because he missed all of last year and no one knows what he is besides a former first-round pick. So no, he can't just turn around and flip Andre Dillard immediately, but we'll agree to disagree on that front. The next one, George, we'll see if we agree here. Cornerback number 2. Wow, Gint. Wow.
Not good. Not good.
I went on the depth chart today because I wanted to remind myself of all the names on the list. I just wanted to remember every single one of them. Again, if they don't make a move, I put out a video from yesterday's show of me stating how I want Steven Nelson really badly. If it's not him, they need to make a move, Gint, because you need someone, a cardboard cutout to throw across from Darius Slay on the other side of the field, because what is on this roster right now is going to have 45 points dropped on them through the air week to week. Avonte Maddox, as of right now, is cornerback number 2. We've seen this story over and over again. Avonte Maddox is not an outside cornerback. He's too slow. He's too small. He's more of a slot guy. Go out and get a number 2 so he can move back to the slot. But after that, Gint, regardless if we're talking number 2 or Maddox plays number 2, then you need a slot guy and a number 3. Oh, guys, look, can I just read these names to you? Zach McPherson, what was he getting? 3rd or 4th
Spell
round
with
pick?
an E.
Yeah, Zach with an E. I think he was a 4th round draft pick this year. Marcus Epps, he's still a safety. Kayvon Wallace is the one listed as the backup corner to Avonte Maddox. Don't know how. Graylin Arnold, Craig James, Michael Jaquette, and Josiah Scott.
If you ask a casual NFL fan, which, I mean, even if you ask a lot of Eagles fans, to name the depth chart of the cornerbacks, they probably would get 4 of those names, right? 4 of those 8 names. It's brutal, dude. I know.
I'm sorry. I'm just so stunned at the list that I just read out there. Like, that's not serious, right? Like, they're not going to actually try to put that out there, like, throughout training camp and preseason, right? There's a plan somewhere. There has to be a plan. Steven Nelson, someone else has to be coming in Midnight Green this year.
The biggest thing is when they drafted McPherson, didn't they say he can't even play on the outside anyway?
Well, they didn't say it. It's, people say he struggles on the outside.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the Eagles said that. Yeah. He couldn't play on the outside.
That's what they like to do, Gint. They like to take guys and try to force them down your throat at other positions. Because it worked. Like, it kind of worked. Jalen Mills was drafted as a safety in the 7th round out of LSU. Jalen Mills won a Super Bowl with the Eagles as their number 1 cornerback. So I guess they think that, and they look and they try to make it work. They're going to try to do it all over the place, dude. Jacoby Stevens, the kid out of LSU this year, he's a safety linebacker mix. Guarantee you they try to throw him at the wrong position. Kayvon Wallace is a safety out of Clemson. He's Avonte Maddox's backup as the number 2 corner. Like guys, stop trying to put slot guys on the outside. Stop trying to put outside guys at safety. Oh my God. George says, as it stands, I reckon James starts, but ultimately they will bring someone in. Oh, George, please be wrong. If Craig James is the number 2 starting cornerback.
I'm pretty sure he's listed as like the 4th corner on the
on
depth
ESPN's depth chart. Yes, who the hell knows how it'll play out? Craig James is the guy who picked off Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau a couple years ago in the end zone. If anyone was forgetting that,
like you said, that there has to be a move. And I mean, I don't know if you saw Steven Nelson deleted the tweet where he said the decision was going to be yesterday or today. So I don't know if that's coming anytime soon, nor do I think I'm going to get my hopes up for that to happen. I don't even know who are the other options out there.
Let's go look, shall we? Let's go look. Here we go.
Ronald Darby.
Wow. Wait, so are these guys free agents? Why does this say to Washington? I don't know. Adoree Jackson. No, I'm pretty sure he's not a free agent, is he? No, this is just a list of the corners. What is this list I just clicked on? 2021 NFL free agents. It's Patrick Peterson. Nope, he's not a free agent. Like, all right, so I don't know. I'd have to do some deeper research before commenting on who else there is. But George says no one really, but players will get cut in the run up to the season. Yeah, man. Listen, Steven Nelson is what I'm hanging my hat on here. Like, I'm begging you, Howie. I'm begging you, Steven. Whatever
is Richard Sherman still a free agent?
Again, you do know, like, there's a big thing going on with Richard Sherman right now, right? All right.
Saw the video, dude.
Bad timing. I thought you were serious for a second.
No. Dude, come on, dude.
Me? Come on.
You know I'm here for the trolls.
Yeah. Okay, so cornerback number 2, I'm really hanging my hat on Steven Nelson, or it is going to be a rough go of it to watch the Eagles play defense on Sunday afternoons, because whoever that number 2 is just getting picked apart. It's just going to be a revolving door, dude. Craig, get out there. Craig gets hit for a 50-yard bomb. Michael, get out there. Nope, not you. Grayson Arnold, out there. Nothing, dude. It's horrible. And my last question mark heading into training camp, that first of all, it's not my last. It's just a little list that I came up with for a segment today because there's a ton of them. But my last and most obvious to me is Jalen Hurts. And I say that because this kid has a ton to prove this year. I know we have talked about the Deshaun Watson rumors to Philadelphia, and if it's available, from a football perspective, I would move Jalen Hurts. No, he would not get this year to prove himself to me. You make that move for Deshaun Watson. However, the legal issues are not getting cleared up or anything like that before the season starts. So for all the Jalen Hurts is the guys, you will get your year to see it and prove it right. What I mean by Jalen Hurts being the biggest question mark is because this is the plan, right? Think about this. And I know there are people that are going to, Carson quit, Carson wanted out. You're correct. But the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts last year with a second-round draft pick. And it put all of this in motion, right? Now Carson's gone. Now he has to be the guy. You have to find that out. If the move for Watson is not being made this year, which it won't be, you have to figure out if Jalen Hurts is the guy or not with those 3 potential first-round draft picks coming up in 2022. Because if he is, you could be in. It will be a retooling, not a rebuilding phase for the Eagles, because you'll have all those assets, and if you find out you have your franchise quarterback on a rookie deal, that is huge.
Let me ask you this. How long does he get? What if he comes out the first 4 weeks where 0-4 and he sucks? I'm just saying, what if he looks abysmal the first 4 weeks of the season we're 0-4? Do you turn the Joe Flacco card and you just draft the quarterback next year?
No. So
this is a whole year. You're playing 17 games. Jalen Hurts, your quarterback this year, regardless of
100%. What's the alternative?
If he sucks, he plays 4 games and he is the backup that he is.
But then what? And then Joe Flacco's the starter, and then
either he's 4 games. Four games isn't right.
No,
but what about
not right?
What about 9?
No, he's playing the whole season. You're either going 0-17 with him or 1-16 with him if he sucks, and you're getting a top 3 draft pick, top 2 draft pick.
I don't really know how to word this. What if he's bad, but not Joe Flacco bad? And you're 2-7, 9 games in, you're like, all right, let's just make sure we get top 3 pick here. Let's insert Delaware here and see what happens.
No, I see where you're getting at. Not Joe Flacco. Jalen Hurts is playing the full season this year, good or bad. I
hope he's good, man. I got a list of people. I really do.
So do I. And this isn't a Carson Wentz thing to me. This is for all the people that already anointed Jalen Hurts the starting quarterback in Philadelphia. Guys, I want that to be the case. You have no argument from me if he's the guy. I want him to be the guy. I'm rooting for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles this year. My point is the same thing as the Dallas Goedert point, but on even in more of extreme level. You have no idea what he is. That's why he's the biggest question mark heading into training camp. You cannot tell me that Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback. Reversely, I know Gint started the segment very negatively. You can't tell me he's not a franchise guy. We don't know that yet. We do not know that yet. My point is, all the struggles you saw him have last year have to be fixed this offseason. He has the fall offseason now. He has a full training camp in person, everything, right? New coaching staff, everything. He's got the number 1 wide receiver. The offensive line is back and healthy. It's nothing with his leadership ability, because I know people love to throw that in my face, how good of a leader and how much of a team guy he is, as if they know. But okay, it has nothing to do with his athleticism. He could be great. He could be great. And he's a dual threat quarterback. He squats 600 freaking pounds. He will run you into the dirt to get into the end zone. It's the arm. It's hanging, not bailing and leaving the pocket too early. It's the deep ball accuracy. This is what people get so twisted, dude. That clip, JD, great video, did the side-by-side video with Michael Vick to Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Hurts to Deshaun Jackson, right? Kind of around the same. Vick's throw was a couple yards longer, both pretty good balls. I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts' arm strength. I'm talking about Jalen Hurts' accuracy on the deep ball. That has always been the biggest question. His accuracy to the sideline throws, his ability to not just bail and lead the pocket within the first 3 seconds of a play and not letting a play develop. Because what you're going to get if he doesn't fix those things are two different extremes. You had Carson Wentz last year and his whole career, who was criticized because he held on to the ball too long. He didn't lead the pocket. He took unnecessary sacks. He didn't throw the ball away. He didn't hit his checkdowns. Reversely, you will have an extreme of Jalen Hurts, who won't let anything develop, who will lead the pocket because he can athletically, and he won't let anything develop down the field and let the wide receivers get into their routes. He has to work on those things. If he does, he can be a franchise quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's nothing up here. It's nothing with his legs. It's nothing with his drive, his motor, his leadership. It's all with his arm. I'm not saying he doesn't have a cannon. I'm not saying he can't make the throws. But I need to see it to believe it first.
Yeah, and another thing, which you and I talked about it a lot last year, is his performance in every second half that he played in.
Yes.
He was when defenses kind of alluded to what he was doing, he completed 45% of his passes in the second half. He had 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. So when defense make adjustments and adapt to what he's doing, he has to be able to almost counteract what they're doing. I mean, that's what good quarterbacks do. So I think that's really step one, what he needs to improve on, or I should say step two, because the arm is right, because that's kind of where my problem stemmed from, would be his arm. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm rooting for the kid. I joke around a lot just because I like to do that, but it's going to be interesting to see.
Just because I like to be an ass. But no, I agree with you. And listen, he's going to be put in a situation to succeed. I see George's comment. It's going to take him a year to learn the offense. Yes and no. I mean, we see young quarterbacks. Listen, he was a second round pick, but Jalen Hurts was. But the Justin Herbert, like rookie quarterbacks, step in and are spectacular right after the jump. I don't see him as that, but he was a second round draft pick. He was a Heisman Trophy runner up at Oklahoma, right? So it might not take him a whole year to learn the offense. Most likely, it shouldn't take him a whole year to learn the offense. He's going to be put in a position to succeed. He's getting the new younger head coach who's more of an offensive-minded guy who, apparently knows how to use the running backs, knows how to get the ball in their playmakers' hands. He's got the number one wide receiver. They spent the 10th overall pick to get Devontae Smith. They're Jalen Reagor, everything. He's got speed around him. He's got speed himself. He's going to be put in a position to succeed. Can he do it? And it all has to do with his arm. That's my only question about Jalen Hurts. And my only beef with people last year on these shows and on social media and, calling me a Winston. Yeah, I did love Carson Wentz. And I still think he's got a lot to go. I still think he's going to succeed in Indianapolis. His time in Philly was clearly up. My beef was with the people who already anointed Jalen Hurts the guy. Like, I haven't seen that. And again, if you're telling me you're wrong. But neither side knows. He's not the guy, and he isn't already the guy. So that's why Jalen Hurts is number one on my list for question marks heading in to Eagles training camp. With all that being said, guys, we are tomorrow marks 1 month from our open tailgate, our open practice tailgate and live show, where all of us at DSM Media will be setting up a nice, pretty big, fun tailgate at the link before the Eagles' second open practice on August 22nd. Food, beer, drinks. We're going to do a live show. You guys can come out, hang out with us. If you're going to get raffle tickets to have a chance to win tickets to come into the open practice with us. Tickets for a chance to win some Eagles merch. So it's going to be a lot of fun. 1 month from tomorrow, please come hang out with us. And yeah, we'll chop it up and have a lot of fun. With all that being said, tonight, Trending for 4 Quarters with Phil Phaithful. I will be on it. JD will be on it. And Phil also has a special guest lined up for tonight's show where we'll be discussing Eagles training camp battles from a position standpoint. Tomorrow, Diamond Talk, 3:30 p.m. right here on DSM Media, followed by us right here, the Phaithful Fanatics, at 5 o'clock. And then 7:30, 8 p.m., JD, Carmen, Terrence take you home with UFO. Guys, have a nice night and make sure you're subbed up to DSM Media.